All right, welcome here to another edition of Instigator Mick. We welcome here to another edition of Instigator Mick. I am your host, Mickey Jordan, here, bringing you another edition of college football, obviously preview, but also this week we're also doing NFL preview this week, so it should be good. Hope everyone tunes in for this. Once you get there, obviously. So let's get into last week's predictions. Obviously, when I was on the show last week, I obviously made my picks for the first week of college football. I ended up beating Max by 3 games last week. I finished 10-3. He finished 7-6. So, let's see how this week goes. This week goes, obviously, but let's go into each game by game results. Obviously, I got the Utah-Florida game right. Max didn't. He picked Florida. He wanted the upset. I did. I picked Utah. I knew they were going to win. So that's who I took in that one. That's what I took in that one. Of course, that was one of the Thursday games last week. What else happened last week? Oh, yeah. Yeah, Nebraska and Minnesota. Obviously, I lost that one. I was a bonehead by taking Nebraska. I really thought it was going to happen, but it came down to a game-winning field goal. Minnesota won that, so Max won that one. I lost that one. So I was 1-1 going in the Friday game. Georgia Tech and Louisville. Max picked Georgia Tech. I picked Louisville. Louisville ended up winning, so I took the W in that one. Then we go in the Saturday games. Let's see. I took Tennessee. We both took Tennessee, so we both won that one pretty easily. And then obviously TCU Colorado. I thought TCU was going to win, but I'll take back everything I said about Colorado. Last week I was just saying some bad things about Colorado. I was like sleeping on them. I was like saying oh, it's the next level. I thought Deion couldn't coach. Man, that guy can coach. His players. I mean, his kid had a school record 500-yard pass in a single game. Shedeur Sanders, give him credit. No else really played really good. Travis Hunter playing both offense and defense for Colorado. Of course, I lost that pick. Max surprisingly picked the upset. Colorado. He thought that was his upset pick. Got that one right. We won the 3:30 games last week. Obviously, we both won both those games because we both picked Wisconsin to beat UB, and that worked out. We both picked Pitt to beat Wofford, and that worked out. So we both won those games. And the primetime games we picked, we both picked South Carolina. I lost that because I don't know why we picked South. I don't know why we picked South Carolina. I thought South Carolina was going to shock them because UNC had so much high expectations going into the season. No doubt. And then, yeah, we both picked Penn State and won that. We both picked the Hokies. My Hokies got the W. So let's get into the Hokies game last week. Man, did they play better than last season against Old Dominion. They didn't turn the ball over. Their offense looks amazing. It looked great. I gotta say. Their offense, unbelievable. I can't believe how good they played last week. Grant Wells didn't throw an interception. He looked all right. There's times he's overthrown it. He's got to improve. But their offense looked great. I mean, it started out a little bit slow in the first half. The first quarter. Now they definitely start out a little slow, getting their offense going. Then, they came out and started looking good in the second half. I mean, made some big plays. I'm liking Ali Jennings already. The transfer from Old Dominion we got. He caught 2 touchdowns against his old team. That was a good revenge game for him. That was a good revenge game for him. I like the other receiver too. They had too, and train the transfer portal too. I like that what they did. Yeah. So let's get into that one. Obviously the defense. Let's get into the defense. Virginia Tech's defense. Boy, did they dominate. Forcing 3 turnovers, forcing 2 fumbles, forcing an interception. I gotta say, I gotta give them credit. They played good. My Hokies won. Let's get into Sunday games that I won both those games. Max, we didn't agree on the Sunday games at all because I picked Rutgers, he picked Northwestern. Rutgers dominated. I won that one. And then Florida State, LSU, that was the biggest game. Florida State just dominated. They dominated LSU in the second half. It started out a little bit thought it was going to be a close game. And all of a sudden, boom, Florida State just exploded in the second half. I mean, LSU they got to be embarrassed. Brian Kelly kept saying all week last week, oh, we're going to beat the heck out of Florida State. That didn't work out well for him at all. That really did not work out for him. So I won that one. And obviously, the Labor Day game, I've told you this was going to happen. Duke was going to upset Clemson. Look what happened. Duke did. They beat Clemson. So that's how I won my picks. I won 10 out of the 13 games we picked. Max won 7 out of the 13. So Max better be taking his notes this week. I can tell you that right now. You better be taking his notes. But all right, let's move on to this week's picks. Starting with the Friday night game on ESPN2 at 7:30. Kansas will host Illinois, so that's in Lawrence. I don't know why I like in this one. I like the Kansas Jayhawks. They surprised me last year, finally making a bowl game for the first time in like over a decade. I think Kansas wins. I think Kansas beats Illinois. This will be another big win for them. They're going to go 2-0. Illinois is going to drop to 1-1. That's what I think it's going to happen in the Friday night game. Kansas wins. That's what I think is going to happen. Move on to Saturday games. Start with my Virginia Tech Hokies. They got Purdue this week. It's going to be a very tough game. It's a Big Ten opponent. Purdue's going to be all pissed off, no doubt. They lost to Fresno State. On home field. They lost to Fresno. So you obviously know I'm going to take. I'm going to take my Hokies as usual. It's in Blacksburg. That's at noon on ESPN2. Hopefully everyone tunes into the Virginia Tech game. As I say, their defense looked pretty solid last week. Now let's move on to the next one. Delaware, Penn State. That's at noon as well. It's one of the noon games. That's on Peacock. This is an easy one. They're playing an FCS team. They're playing Delaware. Penn State's going to win pretty easily. They looked all right last week against West Virginia, but I'd say they looked solid. But West Virginia kept hanging in there in the whole first half, most of the third quarter. But I think Penn State's going to easily just run all over Delaware. Maybe put up these 50, 60 points. Even more than that, who knows. But I like Penn State in the dominant, lopsided game. Next, we got Notre Dame at NC State. That's another noon game. That's on ABC. I like Notre Dame in this one. The first two games, they've had some easy ones, but still, Sam Hartman's putting up good numbers. NC Kane to Notre Dame. He's a Wake Forest transfer. So I like him in this one. I like Notre Dame. This is their first road game of the year. Well, technically, it was a home game in Ireland, obviously, a couple weeks ago. I like Notre Dame in this one. Of course, NC State's got Brandon Armstrong, UVA transfer. He's familiar with him, but they struggled against UConn. I mean, they had a scare from UConn a little bit, but they survived it. That's why I like Notre Dame easily in this one, in Raleigh. On another new game, Utah at Baylor. This will be a time zone advantage for Baylor because, but still, Baylor had a bad loss to Texas State out of all teams. Utah obviously made a statement win over Florida. So I'm going to take the Utah Utes again. I'm going to take Utah to win at Baylor. I really think so. Yeah, obviously, the time zone might affect them a little bit. I think they'll win. Maybe like an AM game for them. Move on to the last noon game. Nebraska at Colorado. Coach Prime's home debut. His first game coaching at home. I think it's an old rival, Nebraska, an old Big 12 rival. Of course, Colorado will return to the Big 12 next year since the Pac-12. This will be the last year of the Pac-12. That's right, because every team's moving to a different conference. Who do I like in this one? I think Colorado wins this one. Last week I was talking negative about them. This week I like them to win this one. Their home opener against Nebraska. Nebraska is trash. Last week I was talking good things on Nebraska. I thought they were going to pull the upset over Minnesota. That didn't work out. I think it's not going to be. I mean, it might be close, but I think not really. Shedeur Sanders and Travis Hunter, that whole Colorado team, look out. I got to give Travis Hunter credit. Playing both offense and defense. Playing 87% of the snaps. So I like Colorado in this one. Let's move on to the 3:30 games. Texas A&M at Miami. Who else I like in that one? I would go with Texas A&M, but this game's in Miami. Texas A&M's always been overrated. Jimbo Fisher, ever since he's been there, they have all these high expectations for Texas A&M. They keep putting him in the rankings. I like the U. I like Miami in this one. Maybe the Hurricanes. Tyler Van Dyke. He didn't at least throw over 300 yards, even 400 yards. He's 2 or 3 touchdown passes. I like Van Dyke and the Miami Hurricanes this one. Next, we got an in-state rivalry. Iowa at Iowa State. I mean, Iowa State surprisingly won at Iowa City last year. Went on the road and won. Got the state braggers. This time it's an Iowa State's build, and it's in their turf. Is Iowa going to play spoiler this time and get revenge? I'd say no. I think Iowa State's going to win it 2 years in a row. I really think the Cyclones look good, so I still think they're competitive. And obviously, I mean, it's still different, obviously, with Breece Hall and all that. Brock Purdy, obviously. 2 years. This is the second year without him. Other than the NFL having success there, but I think Iowa State's a good school. They're still strides, and they're going to beat Iowa, who's ranked. So I think they're going to get the bragging rights again. Let's go on to the evening games, like the night games. Starting with the 6:30 game on the CW. This is the first ACC game on the CW network. It's Cincinnati at Pitt. Obviously, they both had lopsided wins over FCS opponents. Oh yeah, I'm gonna enjoy this one. I'm gonna pick against Pitt. I'm going with Cincinnati. I'm going with the Bearcats. This one. Emory Jones. I like what he's done for Cincinnati. This is like their first year without Luke Fickell. I like Cincinnati. Eat shit, Pitt, Max. Hope you're here watching this. Going with the Bearcats in this one. Cincinnati for the upset. Next, we got the big game this week. Texas at Alabama. That's where College Game Day will be in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Last year, Texas gave Alabama a scare. Bama only won by a point. That was in Texas. This time it's in Alabama. That's 7 o'clock on ESPN. I'm going to go with Texas this time. I think Texas is going to get him this time. I think Texas is going to finally beat Alabama. I think prove themselves to be a national championship contender. I really think Texas is back. I think they're for real. I think Bama is not the same as they used to be. I really like Texas in this one. Hook 'em horns. Next, we got Oregon at Texas Tech. Texas Tech did have a bad loss to Wyoming. And, of course, Oregon put up 81 points against the FCS team last week. Bo Nix in his second year at Oregon. Ever since coming from Auburn. So I like Oregon in this one big. It's not going to be close. Oregon's going to run over Texas Tech, surprisingly. Besides, Texas Tech's lost to Wyoming. What do you expect? I'm going to go with Oregon. Yeah, the last game that I picked this week is the Saturday night game on ABC. It's Wisconsin at Washington State. Well, I like this one. I like Wisconsin. I think Wisconsin's going to get revenge on Washington State. Last year, Washington State rolled into Camp Randall Stadium in Madison, Wisconsin, and pulled the upset of Wisconsin. They shocked the world last year. Just remember that. Washington State pulled off the upset last year in Wisconsin. This time, it's going to be the other way around. I think Wisconsin's going to get the win. Luke Fickell's first road game as a Wisconsin head coach. He's going to improve Wisconsin up 2-0. Move them up in the rankings. That's what I like. Those are my picks this week in college football. I got Kansas, I got Virginia Tech, I got Penn State, Notre Dame, Utah, Colorado, Miami, Iowa State, Cincy, I got Texas, Oregon, and Wisconsin. Now let's move on to the NFL now. This is the first week of the NFL season. Starting tomorrow. The NFL starts tomorrow with the Detroit Lions and the Kansas City Chiefs. That'll be the kickoff game. We're uncertain still about Travis Kelce's injury status. Anyone's heard the news? Travis Kelce had a hyperextension in his knee last night in practice. So we're uncertain there. It could have been worse, but it's not as bad as we thought it would be. So Travis Kelce might have a chance to play now. I'm hearing from CBS Sports around the NFL. That's been the biggest story. One of the biggest storylines so far is Travis Kelce's status. If he's going to play or not tomorrow. Either way, before I heard about this, I think this is my pick. I think the Lions are going to make it close. Chiefs are going to win, but the Chiefs will not cover. Of course, these picks I make are from Uncle Mike's website. Shout out to my Uncle Mike on MSP. Those are his picks. This is a pool he runs. He's been running it for like 30 years. He's run it for like almost 30 years, something like that. He's run it for a long time. Since 1996, the pool's been running. It's been going good. So I'm going to take the points. I'm going to take the Lions. I think the Lions spread this one. I think plus 6.5 the spread. I think Chiefs don't cover. But the Chiefs are barely going to win. They're going to barely escape the Lions. Lions are going to give them a scare. That's my prediction there. I think the Lions are going to be better than last year. I think they'll win the division. But I think they'll give the Chiefs a really good game. So, but I still like the Chiefs to win, though. The spread, I took the Lions. Next, we got those Sunday games. Starting with the Panthers and the Falcons. Of course, these are two teams playing in one of the worst divisions the NFL has to offer. The NFC South is the worst division. It's wide open, though. Falcons are favored by 3.5. I'm gonna take the Panthers. I think the Falcons don't cover 3.5. Falcons. I don't know. I'm not liking that one, but I like Panthers. I think the Panthers are not gonna make the Falcons cover. I think the Panthers also win. Bryce Young in his NFL debut. These are two young quarterbacks. Of course, you also got Bijan Robinson. He's good for fantasy as well. He's probably one of the best rookie. I think he might be preseason rookie of the year for offensive. Oh yeah, Bijan Robinson, look out! But it's going to be a toss up. But I think the Panthers. Reality, I think the Panthers win in Atlanta. Let's move on to the next one. Texans at Ravens. C.J. Stroud makes his NFL debut as the Texans starting quarterback. Going into Baltimore to start the year. I gotta take the Ravens. I'm taking this 9.5. I think the Ravens cover, win by 10 or more. The spread's 9.5. I'm taking the Ravens. I'm taking the spread. They'll cover. They're against Houston of all teams. OBJ makes his Ravens debut too. A lot of expectations for the Baltimore Ravens this year. Obviously with Odell and obviously adding Zay Jones too. Let's see the running backs can stay healthy. J.K. Dobbins, you got Gus Edwards. Their running attack. We'll see how they can be. But I like the Ravens, and I like the Ravens big. Let's move on to the Bengals-Browns. The Battle of the State of Ohio. See how stats of Joe Burrow will be. I mean, he got injured in training camp. I think he's good to go. Going into Cleveland. I know it's not going to be easy. Because, I mean, Deshaun Watson, that's going to be a good quarterback, right? Watson versus Burrow. The advantage, I think, in the receiver position, I like the Cincinnati Bengals in that position because they got Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd. That receiver trio is unbelievable. I think the Bengals cover the 2.5 point spread. I really think they're going to cover. Bengals cover. It's not going to be easy, though, but Cleveland's going to give them a scare at first, but I think Cincinnati wins, though. Next, we got the Jaguars at the Colts. Anthony Richardson makes his debut his rookie debut for the Colts. Starting quarterback. He's also a starter against Trevor Lawrence, the defending AFC South champion Jacksonville Jaguars. The spread is 4.5. Jacksonville's favored by. I think Jacksonville doesn't cover, but Jacksonville finds a way to win. Richardson's going to be good. I've heard a lot of great things about him this offseason, how great he is. He looked good in the preseason. I think he's going to be good this year. I like Richardson, but I think the Jaguars find a way to win. But the Jaguars don't cover. Next, we got the Buccaneers and the Vikings. This is the first NFL season without Tom Brady. Without Brady this year. Now Baker Mayfield is starting quarterback for Tampa Bay. They still got Godwin. They still got Evans as the receivers. They lost Leonard Fournette as a running back. Now he's in Miami. But Minnesota, obviously a little different this year for Minnesota. Without Dalvin Cook, they don't have Adam Thielen anymore. Adam Thielen's on the Panthers. They still got Justin Jefferson. Kirk Cousins. So they got KJ Osborne still. I think the Vikings cover the 5.5 spread. I think they'll win by 6 or more. Buccaneers, they'll be decent, but Minnesota finds a way to win. Justin Jefferson balls out like he always does, being the best receiver in the NFL right now. So I like the Vikings in this one to win and to cover. Next, you got the Tennessee Titans at the New Orleans Saints. That's one of the 1 o'clock games too. Tennessee Titans are a little different. They still got Derrick Henry, but they lost that was AJ Brown. They lost last season. They're still going to be a little bit different. They still got, of course, they got issues in the quarterback position. They got Tannehill probably the starter, but Malik Willis is making some strides this preseason. I saw he looked all right now. Obviously, Will Levis is your third stringer, but I think Tannehill's your starter, no doubt. We'll see how he is this year. That's why they brought these two young quarterbacks in. This will be a second year for Malik Willis, rookie year for Will Levis, just in case either one of them goes injured. But their Saints are a little different. The Saints are a little different in the quarterback position again. They keep pushing quarterbacks. Ever since Breeze retired, they ain't the same. They signed Derek Carr this offseason. They got him. Alvin Kamara suspended for 3 games. He's suspended, and obviously, now what else do you have? Michael Thomas, can he stay healthy? That's the question. We got Taysom Hill playing out of possession too. Who I like in this one? I like the New Orleans Saints to cover the 3.5 spread. I like the New Orleans Saints. Derek Carr in his Saints debut is going to do great. So next, we move on to Steelers 49ers. This is one of the best games of the 1 o'clock slate, other than the Bengals Browns. But I like this. This is the game I really keep my eyes on this week, is the 49ers and the Steelers. This is in Pittsburgh. 49ers are favored by 2.5 right now. Brock Purdy going to his first full season as a starter. He came in December out of nowhere. Mr. Irrelevant, the last pick in the 2022 draft. He came out of nowhere, looked great. Got the 49ers to the NFC Championship game. And you got Christian McCaffrey they got mid-season last year. You got Deebo Samuel back. You got George Kittle. That 49ers defense, one of the best in the league. I think this game is going to be a defensive battle. Steelers, Kenny Pickett's going to have a promising season. You got George Pickens, who's going to have a great year. You got Deontay Johnson, still all-pro receiver. You got Pratt Freiermuth in his third season. He's going to definitely turn out to be one of the best tight ends eventually. If not right now, but like in the near future, no doubt he's going to rise, but he's still good. And that Steelers defense, one of the Steelers defense, 49ers defense, it's going to be a low-scoring defensive battle, I think. That's my prediction. Steelers offense looked good. The 49ers offense looked good in the running game and all that. I think it's going to be a defensive battle. Of course, Steelers got Najee Harris. The running attack. We'll see how he is this year. I like the 49ers to win, but I think they don't cover. No, actually, I changed my mind. I think the Steelers win. I think the Steelers win, and the 49ers don't cover the spread. Steelers win. I got Steelers outright to win. Yeah, pull up the upset for the 49ers. It's not considered an upset because they're both good teams this year, I think, going into the year. I like Pittsburgh, this one. I would think you're crazy picking against the 49ers, but I don't know. Steelers might pull one off here. It's going to be an interesting matchup when those two go at it. All right, the last 1 o'clock game here before we move on to the 4 o'clock games. We got the Arizona Cardinals and the Washington Commanders. Washington is favored by 6.5. Cardinals, we don't know how the status of Kyler Murray this year. Cardinals are going to have a rough year. And Sam Howell, he's going to look good this year. I like Sam Howell and Washington. I think Washington wins by a touchdown. They're going to cover the 6.5 spread. Washington, this one. Cardinals are going to be the worst team in the NFL. Bottom line. It's going to be a long year for them. Let's move on to the 4 o'clock game. Starting with America's game of the week on Fox, the Packers and the Bears. I know my brother and my dad are not going to be happy about this because they're Packer fans. But this is my pick of the week. This is my pick of the week in my Uncle Mike's pool. I like the Bears to cover the spread, the 1.5 point spread, and to beat the living shit out of the Packers. Justin Fields is going to have a great year. I like Justin Fields in this one. He's got some new weapons. He got DJ Moore trading their first overall pick to get DJ Moore. They still got Mooney. They got Cole Kmet. They got the running back. I got Khalil Herbert. I think Khalil Herbert's going to be great this year. Former Hokie. They also got another former Hokie who used to be on the Buffalo Bills. My Buffalo Bills. Tremaine Edmonds, now there. He won the big contract. Let's see how he does against Jordan Love. Obviously, Jordan Love's first start. Technically, he's not his first start against the Chiefs, but this is his first full season as a starter. We'll see. Is he promising, or is he going to have some struggles along the way? They still got Aaron Jones, the running back, and A.J. Dillon. They got those two running backs. They got a young receiving core. They got Christian Watson. They got Romeo Doubs and company. They also got Torrey. So I like the Bears in this one. The Bears look good. I like Chicago in this one. It's not going to be close. Go Bears. Fuck the Packers. Let's move on to the Raiders and the Denver Broncos. That's next. The spread is 4.5 favored by the Denver Broncos. Because it's in Denver. But I think the Broncos win, but they don't cover. I think the Raiders are going to make it close, but I think the Broncos in a close one. Give me the Denver Broncos, but I take the Raiders spread. Plus 4.5, I take. Next, we got the Dolphins and the Chargers. This should be a high-scoring game. Tua Tagovailoa, Justin Herbert, those two were in 2020 picks. A lot of fans think, we should have gotten Tua. The Chargers should have gotten Tua, and Dolphins should have gotten Justin Herbert. It's a tough one, but they're both having success. Tua looks better. As long as he can stay healthy, I feel like he's going to have a great season for the Miami Dolphins again, just like last year. He was great, but I think the Chargers cover and win. I like the Chargers in this one. It's going to be a high-scoring game, no doubt. Chargers by a field goal. And obviously, next you got the Philadelphia Eagles at the New England Patriots. This is Tom Brady Appreciation Day. That game will be in Foxborough, nationally televised on CBS. Philadelphia, the defending NFC champs, coming off a heartbreaking Super Bowl loss to the Chiefs. We'll see how they're going to beat Jalen Hurts. He's going to be down as usual. Patriots going to take a step back. They're going to be down again. Another down year for them. So I think the Eagles cover the 3.5 spread and win. Eagles dominate the New England Patriots on the road. Jalen Hurts, him and his receivers, A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith, they're going to dominate. They got the undershirt this offseason. That Eagles defense looks just badass. Their defense, give me the Eagles. They got some dogs, I tell you. Those Eagles defense. Give me the Eagles this one big. Last 4 o'clock game, we got the LA Rams at the Seattle Seahawks. The spread is 5.5. Seattle's favored. I think the Seahawks don't cover. I think the Rams are going to win. Cooper Kupp, I don't know how he'll be, but I know Matthew Stafford can stay healthy. Cam Akers, Aaron Donald. I think the Rams win in Seattle. Seattle looks great too. This is gonna be a good game. It should be a decent game. Of course, the Seahawks made the playoffs. Rams didn't. Rams struggled with injuries. So many injuries. Had the worst Super Bowl hangover last year. Finished with 5 wins. 5 wins last year. They had a bad Super Bowl hangover last year. Missing the playoffs and have a losing record. I think the Rams are gonna have a bounce back season. Maybe. The tough thing in the playoffs, the NFC West looks just good, except the Cardinals. All right, the Sunday night game, Cowboys at the Giants. The spread is 3.5 favored by the Dallas Cowboys. Giants had a great year last year. They surprised us. Brian Dable in his first year. He also coached the year last year. Giants looked great. Daniel Jones had some strides. Danny Dimes looked good. Saquon Barkley, if he can stay healthy too as well. Of course, the Giants got so many ex-Bills players as well. They look good. The defense, of course, they added Darren Waller. They added Darren Waller to their team this year. I like them, but Cowboys still the same as you. They lost Zeke, but Tony Pollard. I like Tony Pollard. What he's going to bring is the running back one now that Zeke's gone. Tony Pollard, look out for him. Still got CeeDee Lamb. And that Cowboys defense is always dominant. Trevon Diggs, Micah Parsons, that whole Cowboys defense. Oh, I like the Cowboys to cover this 3.5 spread and the win. I like Dallas in this one. They'll find a way to win, but the Giants are going to give it close. They're going to make it tough on the Dallas Cowboys. Last but not least, this is the big one. This is my Buffalo Bills taking on the New York Giants in New York. The New York Jets on the road against Aaron Rodgers in his Jets debut. Whew. This should be a good quarterback matchup. Josh Allen versus Aaron Rodgers. The second year of to me because last year they met when Rodgers was in his last season with the Packers in Buffalo. We all know who won that. The Buffalo Bills beat the Packers in that one. This time Rodgers is in a Jets uniform. 2 times a year we play Aaron Rodgers. God. Everyone's like low on the Bills this year. Think the Bills are going to go 8-9? No, I don't think so. Bills are still going to win that division. This will be the 4th straight season they'll win the division. This division is going to be the toughest division in the NFL, AFC. But I still think the AFC runs through Buffalo. The Bills are going to win. They're going to cover the 2.5 point spread. And they're going to beat that low-life Aaron Rodgers down. That defense is going to give him just a rough game. Going to put him in the retirement home early. This is the game I've been looking forward to. Of course, it's also the 22nd anniversary of the 9/11 attack, so it's going to be emotional in New York as well. My cousin Nick will be at that game, at the Bills-Jets game. But I think the Bills are going to win. Bills are going to win. Keep hating on them. Keep sleeping on them all year. Keep thinking the Jets. Keep hyping up the Jets all you want. Because the Jets are living in a fairy tale right now. They're going to run into reality, and that's the Buffalo Bills. My Bills are going to win. Let's go. Fuck Aaron Rodgers. Those are my picks for the NFL. But let's look at my NFL preview, who I think is going to make the playoffs and division winners. Let's start with the NFC division winners. I think who wins the NFC East. I think Eagles are going to repeat as NFC East champs. I think the Eagles repeat as NFC East champs. NFC North, I think Detroit wins the NFC North. They're winning that division this year. NFC South, that's wide open. But I like New Orleans to win the division this year. Derek Carr wins the division for the Saints. It's wide open. I think the Saints win the NFC South. The NFC West. See, the Niners are going to repeat, and it's NFC West champs. Now let's move on to the AFC division winners. The Chiefs are going to obviously win the AFC West again. The AFC West belongs to Kansas City again. Jacksonville's going to repeat as AFC South champs. Bengals are going to three-peat as AFC North champs, and the Bills are going to repeat for the fourth straight time as AFC champs. My playoff teams, what I think makes playoff, I think Bengals get the first round bye. I think they'll get the 1 seed out of the AFC. Number 2 will be the Buffalo Bills. They'll be the 2 seed. 3 seed will be the Chiefs. 4 seeds will be Jacksonville. My wild card teams, Dolphins, Jets, and the Steelers. Those are my AFC teams. That's 7 teams. Now, obviously, the 1 seed is the Eagles. Number 2 is the 49ers. 3 seed is the Lions. 4 is the Saints. My wild card teams are the Cowboys, the Seahawks, and the Giants. My playoff predictions. I think Bills play the Steelers in the wild card round. Bills beat the Steelers in that one. I think the Jaguars beat the Dolphins in the wild card round. And I think the Jets beat the Chiefs. Nah, I think the Chiefs win that one. So I think Chiefs win that one. Chiefs will play the Bills in Buffalo in the divisional round. Bengals will play the Jaguars. I think the Bills win over the Chiefs this time. And I think the Bengals beat the Jaguars. Bengals and Bills in the AFC Championship. I get the Bills winning the AFC this year. That's my team to win the AFC. NFC side, the playoff wise, Eagles get the number 1 seed, obviously. I think the first round bye. I think it's going to be Giants and Niners. Niners win that wild card playoff game. 3 seeded Lions are going to beat the Seahawks. I think Lions move on. And yeah, they'll play the 49ers. And the Saints and the Cowboys, like the Cowboys in that one. Cowboys would play the Eagles, and the Eagles would win that. They'll go to the AFC Championship game for the second year in Philadelphia. And the Niners will beat the Lions, and it's going to be Niners-Eagles again. And the Eagles are winning the NFC again. It's going to be Bills-Eagles Super Bowl, and the Bills win the Bills are my Super Bowl pick. That wraps up this week's podcast. This is a good one. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. If not, catch it on my channel when you get a chance. See y'all next Wednesday at 1 o'clock, same time.